Liverpool secured their place in the fifth round of the FA Cup as they beat Norwich at Anfield. In today's video, we'll discuss the 5 major talking points from the game, whilst also going over all the latest Liverpool news from the last 24 hours that includes a major development post-Jurgen Klopp's era. There is so much to cover in today's video. And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys, I hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. Virgil van Dijk admits Liverpool's hierarchy have a big job to replace Jurgen Klopp and is curious to see the direction they go in. The Reds captain does not believe uncertainty over the future will affect their ambitions this season, having continued their challenge on all 4 fronts with a comfortable FA Cup victory over Norwich. But with the likes of himself, Mohamed Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold all in the final 18 months of their contract, there are a lot of significant decisions to be made before the summer. The club will have a big job on their hands, that is well known, he said, to replace not only the manager but the whole staff, and there are so many things that will change. I'm very curious which direction that will go in, but when that will be announced, we will see our situation. It will be the end of the Jurgen Klopp era. I am still a part of it, that's why I don't like to talk about it, and that is my main focus. Hopefully we'll have the success we all dream of, and probably there'll be more clarification about what the club wants for the future, and then we will see. Asked whether he saw himself being a part of the next era, Van Dijk added, "That's a big question, I don't know." However, any questions about how the players would respond to learning the news of Klopp's departure at the end of the season were emphatically answered with a 5-2 victory over the Canaries at emotional Anfield. Bigger tests await this week with Chelsea visiting on Wednesday before we head to Arsenal next weekend, but Van Dijk insists nothing will or should be different. Nothing has really changed. Obviously things will change at the end of the season and in the new season, but at the moment it doesn't, and we have to keep doing the same things. It's easier said than done, but I sense the rest of the boys think like that as well, and it is the job for me to ensure we keep it that way. We are all human beings and we have different emotions. Some players feel different about the manager's announcement than others. That's absolutely normal because everyone thinks in different ways, but I didn't notice the professionalism being dropped or the level of standard. The training sessions I have seen in the last couple of days were not different than before. For the boss it was a bit different, but for us to make sure we get to the next round with some players coming back from injury, and now we focus on Wednesday. We can speak about the situation, about what happened next year, every week, but it doesn't change. It's noise we don't need, and that's why I focus on getting the job done, and that's why I feel nothing has changed. It's still the same, but at the end of the season there'll be different things happening of course, but that is for the club to sort out. In a major development ahead of the post-Klopp era, Bournemouth technical director Richard Hughes is emerging as a candidate to fill the sporting director role at Liverpool in the summer. Following Klopp's announcement that he would be departing Liverpool come the end of the season, it was revealed that much of his backroom staff would also be heading out to the door, as well as club sporting director Jorge Schmadtke. Schmadtke was appointed as a sporting director last June, which was a short-term fix to replace Julian Ward, and has held the role ever since, overseeing signings such as Dominic Szoboszlai and Wataru Endo. However, with his relationship with Klopp being a key reason for his appointment, it comes as no surprise to see Schmadtke depart with the German compatriot. To fill the void, reports are stating that Hughes is in the running, seen as more as a long-term option to take on the role. Hughes is regarded as someone well equipped to replace Schmadtke in what will be a new-look structure at Anfield. A former professional player having turned out for the likes of Portsmouth and Grimsby, Hughes joined Bournemouth upon his retirement under Eddie Howe before being promoted to technical director. He has gained acclaim for overseeing the Cherries' recent rise to prominence under Areola, who have impressed the Premier League this season. Reports add that Hughes could be intrigued by the chance to make the step up to Liverpool come the end of the campaign. Liverpool's first game since Klopp announced his incoming resignation ended in plenty of goals, songs and celebrations as our FA Cup run continued at Norwich's expense. In this part of the video we'll discuss the 5 major talking points from the clash. Klopp and the start of a farewell tour. Unsurprisingly, Klopp was a big pre-game focus after his decision to resign at the end of the campaign, and while he had earlier asked not to have to answer questions about it before matches, it was inevitable he'd have to do so before the first game after his decision became public. There's some poignancy too, perhaps in that game being against one of his best friends in David Wagner, now Norwich boss. While the boss insisted there was nothing different from himself in terms of preparation or emotions, he understood that might not be the case for the fans still reading from the news days earlier. Predictably, there were big songs right from kickoff for the boss, support from the crowd for his services rather than upset and impending exit, And as Klopp would have wanted, it was full focus and support on the match and the task at hand, getting through to the FA Cup fifth round. Full time, though, provided the most emotional moments as all four sides of Anfield serenaded Klopp with a long rendition of I'm So Glad right until the boss left the pitch. McConnell and Bradley, the latest to impress from the academy. A fourth senior appearance for Liverpool was a significant one for James McConnell, the first time the teenager has started a game and by far his longest time on the pitch so far, having only made cameos beforehand with a 15-minute showing, his previous best in that regard. And it could hardly have started much better, just a quarter of an hour in a fizzed a lovely curling ball to the far post, over the defender's head and right onto Curtis Jones's head. The resulting nod giving the Reds the lead and McConnell a first assist. In terms of general midfield play, he was cool and regularly able to make the right pass, keeping the tempo up, and tee on the front foot. Perhaps he should have been booked, and a late cramp is a disappointment of course. It's no wonder Klopp later assessed his game as super. As far as youngsters go though, McConnell was upstaged by McConnell Bradley, who delivered a brilliant showing from right back. He has gone from strength to strength over his run in the team recently, and here assisted Darwin Núñez's goal, should have had another for Cody Gakpo a few minutes later, did get one for Gravenberch near the end and deservedly picked up Man of the Match award. Returning faces at last. Since October, the left-back spot has been rotating, cast of sticking plasters making do, and well, in truth, sensational performances. Andy Robertson's initial injury gave Reds fans cause for concern, but Kostas Tsimikas had a few good outings until picking up an injury of his own. And so Joe Gomez has been filling in brilliantly for the most part, but as we head back into a busy part of the season with massive matches ahead, it's important to have both options and quality available once more. As such, Robertson's first game back is an important milestone, off of the bench for just half an hour here, and making plenty of his trademark overlapping runs. So too came on with him Dominic Szoboszlai, immediately assisting fellow sub Virgil van Dijk from a corner, with Trent Alexander-Arnold following them through a few minutes later. Forward line in form. AFCON or not, we have no Mohamed Salah for now as he has a hamstring injury, so it's vital that the other attackers step up and contribute. Luis Diaz has been hit and miss but works non-stop and is capable of world-class moments, so it's almost a non-negotiable anyway, but for the other three it was important time to make their own case. Safe to say, Diogo Jota has been doing that recently with his touch and sharpness, really looking back after a long period of struggles, with both following injuries. Another goal here was brilliantly taken, while he was inevitable and mobile throughout, the combination of which probably makes him the must-start attacker right now. As for Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo, they look polar opposites. The Uruguayan is confident and finding form, scoring again and occupying defenders. The Dutchman is missing his touch, lacking his incision and making poor decisions. He badly needs a goal and a reset, and even with Salah out, looks clearly sub-option for matches of real meaning. FA Cup draw and Chelsea double bill. We were supposed to already know who would face next with a win before the match kicked off. Crowd trouble between West Brom and Wolves meant that was delayed until half-time in the Reds game. As such, we re-emerged from the second half, knowing Watford or Southampton were our next step. Our real path through to the quarter-finals, given it would be back-to-back championship opponents if we saw victory. The match finished 1-1, incidentally therefore requiring a replay. But there are no such concerns for the Reds, safely through and continuing their triple assault on cups. But his attention back to the Premier League next, where we hold a 5-point lead over Manchester City, Arsenal and Aston Villa. It's only City who matter though, let's be honest, and they have had a game in hand. We need to beat Chelsea for so many reasons, because we don't really like them, because we need the points because we drew at the Bridge on the opening day, and because it will put them in a negative frame of mind for Wembley. But all of that is secondary to simply keeping the wins going, keeping the points adding up, keeping our name at the top of the table. Even after this week's shock, 2023-2024 could yet end up being one of the most memorable seasons of them all. Liverpool fans, what are your thoughts on the potential new sporting director, and what are your thoughts on the game yesterday against Norwich? Let me know down there in the comment section below. That brings us down to today's video. As always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Push.